One day, while minding our own business, we pick up a new radio broadcast on our Pip-Boy. Valentine Detective Agency Radio.
This is Ellie Perkins from Valentine's Detective Agency with a message for Nick's partner. We've got a new case and it sounds urgent. Stop by the office. I'll be waiting. Setting this to repeat.
Heading to Diamond City, we can make our way to the Valentine Detective Agency to see what this is all about. And before we even have a chance to close the door, Ellie Perkins starts talking.
I'm glad you're here. We got a new case while you and Nick were out. Ready to put on the detective hat?
The only thing I'm ready for is danger and awesome.
I'm afraid hard-earned caps is all we've got to offer, honey.
Who's our client?
A fisherman whose family lives on the edge of the Commonwealth. Kenji Nakano.
Nakano? Huh. That name takes me back. My memory's a little fuzzy on the details, though.
Maybe if you bothered writing things down, Nick.
Can't do that. Wouldn't want to put you out of a job.
I'll remember that the next time you need me to console a hysterical client. Mr. Nakano didn't leave many details. Said he'd go over everything when you meet him. But if you want my guess, missing person case. Guy had a worried look a mile long.
Anything you can tell me about Kenji Nakano?
Just some impressions. He was obviously upset, but he was also in a hurry, like he couldn't stand just waiting around. I'm a friend of Nick's. He'll remember me. I need his help right away. And then he was gone. He was muttering something on the way out, but... no. I'm not sure it was important.
Come on, Ellie. Don't hold out on me. What did he say?
Well, I thought I heard him say something about a daughter and also a radio, but I might have misheard him. Not sure how the two would be connected.
So is the fedora and trench coat mandatory when solving these cases? 'Cause I'm thinking smoking pipe and British accent.
Hey, whatever floats your boat, Gumshoe.
I'll go check it out. Thanks, Ellie.
The Nakano residence is up in the northeast, near the coast, a small fishing house. He said that he and his wife will be waiting for you.
It's a long walk. That's how the hard cases always start.
Well, about time we got another detective case. I've been itching for more action since we put Eddie Winter away. For this case, we'll go ahead and take good old Nick Valentine with us.
Nick,
Time to hit the road?
let's head out.
Well, all right.
The client is Kenji Nakano, and Ellie told us he lived in a house on the edge of the Commonwealth. And by edge, she really does mean edge. We find his house by traveling to the furthest northeastern corner of the Commonwealth. After trudging through the sand and jumping over a number of piles of rock, we find the Kenji residence with a boat moored by a small dock just outside. As we approach, we overhear a conversation coming from within the house.
Damn it! Come in! I know you're listening on the other end. Where is she? Where is my daughter?
Kenji, please. You've been at this for hours. Stop. You need sleep.
She's out there, Ray. Someone has her. They could be raiders, or gunners, or God knows what else.
Heading inside, Nick, ever the polite detective, apologizes for not knocking first.
I hope you don't mind. We let ourselves in.
Nick, thank God. You need to get to work right away. She could be hurt. She could be...
Whoa, slow down. Kenji, was it? Why did you go over the details with me and my partner here?
You brought a partner? Good. The more eyes, the better.
Yep, that's me. Lowly partner. I don't even get real business cards.
Right.
So, what's the story with you and Nick?
Nick didn't tell you? Ran with him on one of his cases a few years back, searching for some sort of lost heirloom. He needed a boat. Things didn't end well. We were double-crossed by the client once we had what he was looking for. I still have some lead lodged into my hip.
Right. Yeah, it's starting to come back to me. Sorry things ended sour.
We got out. That's all that mattered. And now you can return the favor by finding my daughter.
We're here to help. Tell us what happened.
It's all thanks to this damn radio.
Our daughter Kasumi likes to fix things. The radio was her latest project.
Until she made contact with some kidnapper who lured her away from us.
Or maybe she left on her own. She's not a child anymore. Our daughter is 19. She knows how to survive, and she's capable. I think maybe she left because she wanted her own life.
No, she would have told us where she was going. She would have said something. I know my daughter is in danger. I can feel it. Find her, please.
Do you have any idea where she could have gone?
We know she took one of the boats, but that's all. She could be anywhere.
Let's talk money. Investigations for the missing aren't cheap.
Sorry about this, Kenji. Expenses and all that.
Of course. How does 350 caps sound?
If she went far, that means travel expenses.
We could make it 400.
Don't hold out on me. You want to find your daughter, right?
500 caps. That's all we have.
This isn't my problem. I have better places to be.
What? You're leaving?
Yeah, my partner here is a bit of a blunt instrument. We've got a lot on our plate right now, but we'll be back. Won't we?
We'll find her. Don't you worry.
Thank you. Her room is upstairs if that helps. And if you had any more questions about her, just ask.
Don't worry, Kenji. We'll get to the bottom of this. Just sit tight.
Before inspecting her bedroom for clues, we can talk with Kasumi's mother, Rei, to see if she can shed any more light on the disappearance of her daughter.
Mrs. Nakano,
I suppose you have questions about my daughter.
you and your husband don't seem to agree about why your daughter left.
We both want to find her. The world out there isn't a place where you want to be alone. But Kenji still sees her swaddled in diapers. He doesn't see a young woman with her own decisions to make. Maybe because it's more frightening. She wasn't tricked into leaving without telling us. That was her choice. She didn't want us to follow. Why?
Tell me about this radio your daughter was working on.
I remember Kasumi was very excited about it. I figured she was secretly trying to make contact with Diamond City or another settlement. We're pretty isolated out here. She only has us for company, and Kenji can be overprotective.
I'd like to know more about Kasumi. Might shine a light on where she's gone.
My daughter is strong, focused, careful. That's how I know she's still alive. But why would she leave without telling us? Maybe we... No, never mind. I don't want to waste your time.
Every detail is important, Mrs. Nakano. Don't hold back.
It's just that we've been fighting a lot more. All of us. Ever since Kasumi's grandfather passed away, he was the only one that could really talk to her. Kenji and I don't understand machines, but those two could work together for hours. She started staying in her grandfather's boathouse late into the night. I thought she was just trying to cope with the loss, but now I wonder what she was up to.
Nothing else right now.
So it wasn't domestic bliss here at the Nakano household. And Kasumi recently lost her grandfather. Is that reason enough for her to leave on her own? Talking with her father...
Mr. Nakano,
Did you have questions? About my daughter?
why did your daughter really leave? Your wife said she left on her own, but you said it was kidnappers?
I know it was kidnappers. Kasumi is a smart girl, but she doesn't know how horrible people can be. Not like me and Rei. Why would she just leave her family with no explanation? Someone tricked her. Got her to leave the safety of home. Every minute we aren't looking for my daughter, her life is in jeopardy.
Tell me more about this radio she was fixing.
I've tried to get that damn thing to work over and over again, but there's nothing. I thought she just wanted to strip it for parts or build a toaster out of it or something, like she usually does. Someone made contact with her, and then they took her. God, what kind of twisted psychopath has my daughter?
Anything more you could tell me about Kasumi? The smallest detail could be important.
I don't know what more to say. She's my little girl, and she doesn't know how dangerous this world is. I never should have let her grandfather teach her how to fix these machines.
Her grandfather? He taught her how to fix the radio?
Ever since she was old enough to walk, yes. Her grandfather had an ear for machines. Kasumi picked up the knack. He passed away recently. He used to scavenge the ruins in the south for parts. I kept telling him he was getting too old.
No more questions right now.
Work quickly, detective.
So Kasumi shared a love of fixing electronics with her grandfather. Together they were working on a radio, but then he passed away. Exploring the ground floor of the house first, we find a holotape when we enter the kitchen. Kasumi's project's kitchen.
Project log, kitchen mixer. The circuits are still good, but all the mechanical parts are rusted through. Maybe I can...
All right, everyone. I'll be back in a few days. Was there anything else we needed from the city?
Wait, you're going now? No! Wait, Dad, I could come with you.
It is better if I go alone, Kasumi. Do not worry. I have your list.
You don't know what half that list is, Dad. I can help you. Really, I'll be...
I said no. I'm sorry. You're safe here, okay? Just stay put for me.
Okay.
I know you're disappointed, but I won't be long. I love you.
I love you too, Dad.
19 years old, and her father wouldn't even let her leave the house. He was just trying to protect her. That shows that he loved her, but sometimes that kind of love can be suffocating. We find the next holotape in the living room on the holotape player, Kasumi's Project's holotape.
Hello? Testing? Project log. Holotape player. Managed to strip out the parts from this thing and make something that's easier to move around. Granddad always said you need to make a record when you start something. You know, in case you have to go back to it. So, I guess I'm going to start doing that. Maybe I should start with an inventory of all the parts I found?
Kasumi! Your father needs help with the boat.
I'll be right there. Oh, damn. Was I recording that?
Clever enough to create a mobile holotape recorder. We find the next one lying on the family television, Kasumi's Project's television.
Project log, Radiation King television. Mom says these things actually used to broadcast pictures and sounds back before the war. She also mentioned that some of the ruins of the television studios are still around if you head to the city. Of course, she wasn't too happy when I asked if we could make a trip out there. I'm getting off track. I managed to repair the vacuum tubes and got the power working again, but, well, it's not like there's any working signal for this thing to receive. I'm just going to start stripping this thing for parts moving forward.
Well, sounds like the father is not solely at fault here for being overprotective. Ray wasn't too keen on the idea of her daughter exploring a pre-war television studio. To her credit, Kasumi probably wouldn't have lasted long at Hubris Comics, what with all the ghouls. Heading upstairs, we find the master bedroom to the right. This must be Kenji and Ray's room, but there's nothing of interest inside. Back to the hallway, we find the next holotape lying on the hallway console. Kasumi's Project's lamp.
Project log, lamp. Yep, it's a lamp. Filament plus power equals light. I swear, sometimes I think my parents break these things just to keep me busy.
Wouldn't put it past her father. Keep her busy and safe in the house. Moving into the next bedroom, Nick makes a deduction.
Looks like this is Kasumi's room. Let's see if she left any clues about where she went.
We find evidence that Kasumi was indeed an avid tinkerer. Junk, consoles, fuel tanks, and monitors. And lying on a dresser behind a red toolbox is one page from Kasumi's journal. Radio project update. The range on this thing is just terrible. Nothing but static and the occasional crazy thinking the machine is talking to me. Ugh. I'm going to work on boosting the bandwidth coverage. There's a lot of electronics left in Granddad's boathouse. With all the nautical navigation tech he was tinkering with, I bet I could find something that could pick up frequencies from further out. Now, where did I leave my key to the safe? So, as Kasumi's mother said, she liked to spend time in the boathouse.
So Kasumi was spending time in her grandfather's old boathouse? Sounds like we know where we're heading next.
Indeed, Nick. The clues point there. And speaking of clues, we find one more holotape beneath Kasumi's bed. Kasumi's Project's dreams.
Project log, dreams. Recording what I can remember when I wake up. I keep having the same one. I'm in a white room. People are talking about me like I'm not there, or maybe they just don't care. And then there's this, I don't know, jolt, like a spark of electricity to the back of my head, and then everyone turns to look at me. God, I hope I don't have it again tonight.
Kasumi was suffering from recurring nightmares, but was that a dream or could it have been a memory? Moving to her desk, we find another holotape lying on top of it amongst some junk. Kasumi's project's radio.
Project log? Radio. Correction, working radio. I'll finally get some news outside this house. My handle is going to be... let's go with... Ohm's Law. That should confuse the creeps. And if someone actually gets the reference, then we'll at least have circuitry in common.
She got it working, increased its range, was able to contact people far afield. But who exactly did she find? Those are all the clues we find in the house, and most of them point us towards the boathouse. Heading outside, we see the boathouse off to the northeast, but while we're here, we can explore around the outside of the house. Nearby, we find a playground, where Kasumi must have spent a lot of time as a child. And lying on the ground next to the swing set, we find the next holotape, Kasumi's project's Swings.
Project log, swings. Reattach the chains, a little rusted, and I'm way too old for them now, but it was a nice distraction, I guess. It's funny, you know, I never played on these swings growing up, even when I was little. At least, I don't remember.
A child's playground right outside a family home, but the only child who grew up here has no memory of playing at this playground? Perhaps her nightmares really did mean something. Looking for evidence of this grandfather, we find it while exploring the rocky hills just west of the Nakano residence. On a bluff overlooking the house, we find a memorial, a marble obelisk gravestone. In loving memory, Taichi Nakano, grandfather, sailor, engineer. And on a small table before it, Kasumi's holotape to Granddad.
Granddad, I know you can't hear this, but I can't think of a better way to say goodbye. You taught me so much, and I won't forget any of it. I'm sorry that we'll never be able to fix up the old clunker we've got sitting in the boathouse. Wherever you are, I hope you're at peace.
Kasumi was so close to her grandfather, his death must have really rattled her. Next, we can move to the boathouse to see if she left any clues there. Heading inside, we see the boathouse filled with tables covered in scrap, filing cabinets and terminals, electronics and ruined monitors. We do find one boat, however. It appears they were installing some sort of electronics inside, and at the bow of the boat, we find a floor safe, on top of which is grandfather's note. My dear Kasumi, if you ever get locked out of the safe, then the answer is here in the boathouse. Picture where the key is. Love, Granddad. Picture where the key is? Okay, not entirely subtle there, Granddad. Heading on over to the desk, we find a framed picture, and if we examine it, we find a key hidden within the frame.
Good work. Now, let's see what's in that safe.
Moving to the safe, we can unlock it with the boathouse safe key. Inside, we find 2 rolls of military duct tape and Kasumi's final holotape.
Project log? Myself. I never really thought about who or what I am, but... God. Where do I start? The radio. I was right about the range. I managed to get a signal, a strong signal, from up north. There's a group of people up there. They say they're all synths. Synthetic people. Made by the Institute. They're trying to build a place for their kind, where they can be themselves and be accepted for what they are alongside human beings. It sounds wonderful, but then they started asking about me, and some questions came up. Questions I don't have answers to. I mean, I've always felt off, like I'm not really supposed to be here, but then there are things in my childhood I can't remember, and I've been having strange dreams. I'm going to go to meet these synths. I have to know the truth about myself. They've told me to sail up north to a town called Far Harbor. I can make my way to them from there.
So the daughter takes off by boat. But more importantly, there's a colony of synths up near this Far Harbor. We need a way to get there. Let's go talk to Kenji. He knows the waters better than anyone.
Kasumi can't remember playing as a child. She has the same recurring nightmare in a lab, surrounded by scientists who ignore her, who don't treat her as a person, who perform electrical experiments on her head. Could Kasumi really be a synth? If so, perhaps her parents know something about it. Did they rescue and adopt a synth and simply not tell her her true identity? Or has the real Kasumi been replaced? Moving back into the Nakano residence, we can tell Kenji about what we found.
Excuse me, Mr. Nakano.
Have you finished your investigation? Did you find anything?
I need to ask you an important question. Are you sure your daughter's human?
What kind of question is that? Why are you asking?
Your daughter made contact with a group of synths. She thinks she's one of them.
What? That's crazy.
She's not a synth. She's our daughter. We raised her. I gave birth to her. She's flesh and blood, not a synthetic.
Are you sure she's human, Mrs. Nakano?
Yes, I know my daughter and she hasn't changed. She's not some replacement.
That's how synths work, Mrs. Nakano. They replace people. This could have happened recently.
I know my own daughter. She's not a synth.
If your daughter is a synth, Mrs. Nakano, then she's Institute property.
But my daughter isn't a synth.
Maybe your daughter is just confused. Having an identity crisis.
Oh God. Does she even think we're still her parents?
This is what I was afraid of. Someone twisting my daughter's mind. Did you find where Kasumi went, Detective?
I think Kasumi took off somewhere up north. Do you know what's up there?
Where specifically? I've been up the coast, almost to where the waters start to freeze, but that's a lot of miles.
I think I know where Kasumi went. A place called Far Harbor.
She went that far up north? God, that explains why she took the boat. You have to go after her. Please, take my other ship on the dock outside. My father's design. It has a guidance system, and it is built for distance.
A magic boat ride? Will there be sea monsters?
While I know the seas aren't exactly safe, I am confident that boat can get you there unharmed. At least I hope.
I know my partner here can be a little glib, but we won't rest until we get to the bottom of this. You two have my word.
That's crazy. I'm not taking a ride on some rusty boat.
I trust that boat with my life. My father worked on it every day until he died, and it is all I can offer. Let me know if you change your mind.
My partner here is just a little nervous. Never been on a boat before. We'll be back.
What can I expect out there, Kenji?
I only made the trip to Far Harbor once, when I was a boy. All I remember is that my father did not want to stay long. Something about the air being bad.
I'll get to the bottom of this, Kenji.
Thank you. I know you haven't asked for a payment, and we can't offer much. But here, please take it. I insist. For expenses, if nothing else.
I know it'll be hard waiting for word, but try to carry on like normal. We'll be back as soon as we can.
Both parents are adamant that Kasumi is not a synth, especially her mother. Could Kasumi really just be suffering from some sort of identity crisis? Or is she really a synth? Such a convincing one that not even her parents know. To find out, we have to take Kenji's boat to Far Harbor. Thankfully, we don't have to know how to sail. Kenji's tinkerer of a father put together this automatic guidance system. All we have to do to reach Far Harbor is activate the boat controls. Several hours later in the dead of night, a thick fog hangs on the water. Eventually, we see lights in the distance. Far Harbor. As we approach, we hear voices.
Ease up, Alan. Got visitors.
Mainlanders ain't nothing but trouble.
Put the damn gun down.
Upon arrival, we complete the quest Far From Home and begin the quest Walk in the Park. Stepping out of the boat, we are greeted by a welcome party.
Hi.
Are you lost? This is Far Harbor. We don't get many visitors around here.
We don't need no freeloaders or more help, Mainlander. So you can get back in your boat and leave.
Alan, this isn't your dock. It belongs to the whole town. And that means strangers are welcome. Sorry, you've caught us during a difficult time. But Alan's got a point. Not all visitors had good intentions. So, what's your business here?
I didn't come all this way to be interrogated by the likes of you.
What?
I knew I should have wasted her.
Listen, stranger, if my tone is short, it's because of dealing with knuckleheads like Alan Lee. This is no interrogation. More like a welcome party. People don't come to Far Harbor unless they have a powerful good reason. It might be I can help.
What is this place?
Well, in ancient times, this used to be a tourist town. My people have lived here and on the island for generations. But now everyone's crowded onto the docks just trying to survive another day. We have more than our fair share of problems. You aren't here to add to them, are you?
I need information about a synth refuge on this island.
Ah, another Commonwealth traveler looking for Acadia then.
A young woman from the Commonwealth named Kasumi may have passed through here. Her family hired me to find her.
Some sort of detective, huh? Well, she came through here all right.
At least we know she made it this far.
Damn it. Mariners ain't coming.
Something's coming through the fog!
You, help us defend the town and I'll answer any questions you have. Take a post at the top of the wall near the main gate. The hull never lets us down. Now follow me! Be careful on the hull, stranger. Don't fall off. If you do, we might not be able to rescue you in time.
Looks like we've been conscripted to help defend the town. Staying close behind Avery, we follow her to the top of the hull.
Man the hull! Something's out there!
Sounds like the mariner here is in charge, but we don't see anything out there.
You sure you saw something?
This ain't a drill!
Oh, I heard that.
What the hell?
Eyes peeled, everyone!
Something is out there, but this fog is so thick we can't see a thing. Then we hear a voice.
Open the gate! I've got wounded out here!
Mariner, there's no time. Look to the fog. They're coming.
They closed the gate and won't let them in.
Gulpers!
Oh, God! Defend yourselves!
Fire at will!
With that, gulpers emerge from the fog. soon proved to be too much and overwhelmed the survivors at the gate. I wasn't being very effective from atop the hall, so hopping down we can get our hands a bit dirty.
It's over.
No. Eyes on the fog. Something's coming. We're clear.
All right. Well done, all. Open the gate!
At last the attack is over, and looking around at the carnage we see so many dead. Most of the survivors on the wrong side of the wall were killed by the Gulpers, including Jared Gresham. Now it is possible to save his life, and the lives of the other survivors, if we're really aggressive and we don't allow the Gulpers to even reach the gate, and if Jared survives, he has a conversation with us.
Hey.
Appreciate the help, Mainlander. We're all still in one piece. Can't hardly believe it. Avery and the others were just doing their jobs, but you ain't one of us. We owe you, and Harbormen paid their debts. Here.
What were you doing out there?
Scrapping. Picking over the old ruins. Avery wanted more rebar to shore up the hull, more wire for the condensers. We put our necks on the line for this town, and what do? They shut us out. Leave us to die. Damn them. Damn this fog. Damn this whole island.
I'm lucky I was here. You didn't stand a chance out there.
Don't I know it?
Glad I could help.
Yeah. That's it for me, though.
What now?
I'm through here. Heading back to the mainland, next chance I get. Far Harbor can fend for itself.
The poor guy is clearly a bit bitter that the Mariner closed the gate on him, but I can't imagine that it was an easy choice for the Mariner to make. When done, we can check back in with Captain Avery.
Avery.
And now you see what we're up against. The fog and the creatures it spits out have taken the whole island from my people. But for your help when we needed it, you deserve this.
What's the fog?
Where to begin? The fog's radioactive, right? But there are pockets of it, the deep fog, that are hard fallout. And as deadly as that is, that's only part of the problem. Things live in the fog, thrive. You think what attacked the harbor's bad? Oh, there's far worse further inland.
Lost the whole island?
Oh, the fog's been here forever. There are good years when it recedes and the island's almost normal. Then there are times when it spreads all over, and people have to cling to any patch of land free of the fog. For the past, 8 years or so, it's been getting as bad as it's ever been. Now, Far Harbor's one of the only places left that's safe.
Everywhere I go, nobody's got it easy.
No argument here.
If you manage to survive despite all that, you must be tough.
Ornery, more like.
I'm done cowering behind your damn hull, Avery. Time you let me deal with the real problem. With the right people and my guns, I can end those Children of Adam cultists for good.
The fog's been here forever. The children didn't make it.
Before the Rat Eaters came, the fog was under control. They come, and it all goes wrong. It's time we do something.
No need to burden the stranger with all this nonsense.
What's the deal with the Children of Adam?
They're religious folk. Worship the power of Adam. Which is radiation, I guess. If you want details, you'd have to find and ask them. We used to have a peace with them until a certain hothead menace named Alan Lee...
Now that's enough. That preacher came into the harbor saying that it was Adam's will that we lost our land. That it was Adam's goddamn will that we lost so many friends and family. And that the Atom would wipe this whole place clean of us.
If it were up to me, you'd hang for what you did to that preacher, Alan.
What did he do to the preacher?
Alan pulled a gun on him. He claims the preacher reached for his. We don't have police, or really any law, just custom and popular sentiment. And after everything the preacher said, it was abundantly clear doing anything to Alan would have made matters worse.
Have the children made the fog worse?
Absolutely not. There's not one bit of evidence.
Geiger counters don't lie, Avery. The fog's gotten more lethal year over year. And now the fog's covering the whole island. But only after the children came.
You know as well as I do that's happened before. Sure, people have theories the children are involved, but no one, and I mean no one, has proof.
Sounds like you should deal with the children about him. Permanently.
I'm not sure that's going to make our job here easier.
The mainlander sees the sense in all this.
I will do everything in my power to keep the peace here. So go, Alan.
Can we get back to business?
Sorry for all that. You're here for Kasumi, right? She headed inland to the Synth Refuge, Acadia. Getting there will be dangerous. You'll need a guide. Old Longfellow. No one knows the fog like him. But word of warning, he's a bit of an acquired taste.
What's Old Longfellow's story?
He's the best hunter on the island. Fearless. Some say crazy. If someone needs to get to Acadia, he's the only one that'll do it. But people around here are known for being stubborn, willful, and other less flattering things. But Longfellow's got a reputation even among us.
What can you tell me about Acadia?
Ask Longfellow. He's the only one that's been there.
I don't need a guide.
I don't recommend going it alone. If you change your mind, best place to look for Longfellow's the bar. The last plank.
Thanks for the info.
Best place to look for Longfellow's at the bar. The last plank. And, please, lend a hand around town if you're able. Even if it's slapped away. People like the Mariner and Cassie and others need help. And let me say something you might not hear again. Thank you.
With that, Captain Avery walks away. We can now wander Far Harbor, and we begin the quest, Living on the Edge. Help the citizens of Far Harbor. That is a bit of a distraction from why we're here. Kasumi apparently went to this Acadia, and the only way we know to get there is to find a guide named Old Longfellow. Well, since we're here at Far Harbor, we might as well talk with the locals. We'll look around, get to know the people who live here, and understand their struggles before talking with this Old Longfellow in my next episode. I publish many Fallout videos each and every week on this channel, so if you don't want to miss my next episode, be sure to subscribe and to click that bell notification button. If you have and you still feel like you're missing out on YouTube notifications, consider following me on Twitter at Oxhorn. I update Twitter manually with every new piece of content that I publish. I've got a brand new shirt in the shop. Things live in the fog. What better way to start a new series on Far Harbor than to celebrate the survivors who live here? This brand new design comes on shirts in a variety of men's, women's, and children's sizes and in a wide array of colors. You can find it on other products as well, like smartphone cases, pillows, posters, mugs, stickers, prints, etc. So if interested, you can find a link to my shop in the description below, or you can click here. If you like what I do and you want to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming a patron on Patreon or a member here on YouTube. Patreon supporters are becoming increasingly more important in light of changing YouTube algorithms and other things that are outside of my control, so my sincerest thanks to each and every one of my YouTube members and supporters on Patreon. But more than anything, I'm just so glad you're here watching this video with me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon with more brand new videos.
But everyone's got to sleep. Make things right quick. Or else.